Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Port Priority Mate. This is a premier tournament happening this weekend with a bunch of invaders from around the world, as well as a Watch the Throne qualifier. So there's a lot of stuff on the line here. And for our top 16 seeds, you're going to have Ken, T, DeBuzz, and Osimo in 13th, Riddles, Shootone, Hurt, and MKLeo in 9th. In 7th, you're going to have Light and Zomba. 5th is Sonix, Tweek. 4th is Glutonny. 3rd is Spargo. 2nd is Miya. And projected to win the entire thing is Aqua. So there's 4 paths that lead into the top 32, and we're going to be covering all of those, starting off with Aqua's path. Now, the top seeds for this are going to be Aqua, Osimo, Zomba, and Riddles. Now, for Aqua, I would definitely expect him to come through on the winner's side. Ludo is a tough opponent, but Mario is not super great into Steve, and Aqua has beaten Kurama on a multitude of occasions as well, so going to say that Aqua takes that one. Apollo Kage, Aaron, this one's a little bit tough. I think Aaron's been super impressive. I'm still going to give Apollo Kage the benefit of the doubt, but that's definitely an upset I could see, and it's the same thing for Aqua Apollo Kage. I could see Apollo Kage taking it over Aqua because I actually think that Snake does pretty well into Steve, not winning by any means, but you know, the bar is pretty low. I would still expect Aqua to win it, of course. Then you're going to have Osimo, JDV, Mudace, and Geist. I would expect Osimo to win this one as he's beaten T before, and Mudace to win this one as he's had so many sets versus Lima. Maybe a different style of Bayonetta throws him off, but I think he should win that. And I also do think that Mudace will make the upset over Osimo, because as you can see, Osimo has a pretty bad record versus Umeki. Now, Mudace and Umeki, they aren't the same players, but Osimo's struggling a little bit in the matchup, and because of that, I'm going to say that Mudace takes it. Next up is going to be Zomba, Subo, Umeki, and Luis. Now, for Zomba, Subo, I would expect it to be Rob versus Joker. I could see the Olimar coming out, but I do think that Rob beats Olimar, and then Rob Joker is a little bit more even. Regardless of the character, though, I think Zomba's going to be my heavy favorite going in. He's a top 10 player in the world. There's not really a ton of analysis going into it here. He's just so good at this game that I expect him to win. Subo has been looking a lot better these past couple tournaments, though, so maybe something crazy happens. You're going to have Umeki and Luis. Now, kind of the same thing that I was talking about earlier with Osimo. Luis just doesn't have a great record versus Peach overall. He's down 0-3 versus Mudace and 0-1 versus Umeki. This was 5 years ago, but it's just showing that he's not amazing at the matchup. Now, I think Luis is good enough to beat anyone in the world, so I could see him beating Umeki, and if he beats Umeki, I could also see him beating Zomba, but I don't think he's going to beat Umeki. I think Umeki is definitely going to be the favorite going into that one. And then for Zomba Umeki, I would expect Zomba to take that one. It's not really a swingy matchup into either character's favor. Zomba's been pretty good versus Mudace in the past. It's not a dominant record by any means, but I think Mudace is a little bit better than Umeki. And if you can hold your own versus Mudace, I think you can hold your own versus Umeki. Heading for Pluck here, it's actually a pretty dominant record for Zomba versus Mudace. As you can see, he is up 3-0, so that gives me even more confidence with him versus Umeki. And our final top seed for this section of the bracket is going to be Riddles, and he's likely going to be against Beastly, SkyJ, and Peanut. Now, for Riddles Beastly, I would expect Riddles to win that one, just considering that he's beaten Tweek Diddy Kong on a multitude of occasions, but Beastly is insanely good at this game. I do think he's good enough to beat a player of Riddles' caliber. I'm just going to give Riddles the benefit of the doubt, but don't be super surprised if you see Beastly taking that one. SkyJ, Peanut, now, they have played a couple times before, and they do trade sets. You're going to have SkyJ winning the more recent one at LSI. I say more recent, it's a year ago, and then Peanut winning the one at Low Tide City. And I'm going to say that SkyJ wins this one just because he's been to Japan recently, and every single time an NA player comes back from Japan, they are dominant. And I'm going to say that he used that momentum to beat both Peanut and the Riddles. Now, overall, Riddles has a pretty good record versus SkyJ. It's going to be 3-1 in Riddles' favor, but SkyJ does win their last encounter, and he's got the Japan buff behind him, and I think that buff's going to be enough to get him winner's side top 32. Our next top seed is going to be Glutonny. He's alongside DeBuzz, Sonix, and Shootone. Now, his first opponent is likely going to be Beast Mode Paul, and then either Cola or Alice. Now, for Beast Mode Paul, he's been super good these past couple months. I would argue he's potentially the best hero player in the world. I know Aqua's really good, but Beast Mode Paul has just been doing some really impressive stuff at these past couple events, and I'm still going to favor Glutonny to win it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually a super competitive set. They're going to have Cola versus Alice. Cola's going to be my heavy favorite going into this one. He's the best Roy player in the world. He is phenomenal at the Roy Ditto, and he looked really strong at Luminosity makes moves. Maybe not as one-sided as I make it out to be, because Alice is still a very good player in his own right, but gonna say that Cola takes that one. Glutonny Cola, this one's very interesting because Cola overall does have a pretty dominant record, 3-1, even though Gluto does win their last encounter, and also it was 2 years ago, so it doesn't really mean anything, and I'm going to say that Glutonny takes it just because I've seen more from him these past couple of months, and he's just looked so good, but as I said, Cola looked incredible at Luminosity Makes Moves Miami. He's beaten Glutonny on a multitude of occasions before. I wouldn't be surprised if he did it here. Our next top seed is going to be the Buzz. He's likely going to be against Kronos and then either Siski or Cosmos. Now, for the Buzz Kronos, I would definitely expect the Buzz to win that one. He's just really good at the stake matchup, and Rosalina has some really annoying tools in that matchup. Downbeat specifically resets the timer on grenades, so you're just able to abuse that and make Snake change his entire game plan, which is never fun. Then you're going to have Siski versus Cosmos. Now, definitely going to favor Siski to win this one just because his form has been a lot better in these past couple months, but I am always waiting for the grand return of Cosmos, and if it's at this event, I could see him going on a run because I do think that he can beat Siski. He has a really good record versus the Buzz, even though some of the recent encounters have been going more into Buzz's favor. Overall, Cosmos has been very good in that matchup. So is it possible for Cosmos to pop off? Yes, it's always possible. Is he going to? Probably not, but we'll just have to wait and see. But likely you're going to get DeBuzz versus Siski, and I would heavily favor DeBuzz to win that one. Olimar is just such a nightmare character for Samus. I think it's probably her worst matchup. Maybe we see the Siski Incineroar come out, but if that comes out, I would still expect DeBuzz to win. Our next top seed is going to be Sonix, and I'm going to be a little bit brief here just because I think Sonix is the heavy favorite going into pretty much all of these matchups, and that's no offense to any of these players. Neither Sharp has a multitude of characters that shoot them, maybe can throw off Sonic's tempo. I just think Sonix is a top 5 player in the world, and he's playing an amazing character, so I think he's going to win that one. For Big D, Andres FN, I would favor Big D, even though Andres FN has taken out multiple players of Big D's caliber. He's going to be playing all the FGCs, and Ice Climbers loves characters that hit with their face, so going to say Big D takes that one, and for Sonic's Big D, Sonix is going to win. And our final top seed for this section of the bracket is going to be Shootone, and he's going to be against likely Peanut and then either Pocket or Tarek. Now, for Shootone Peanut, he better win that matchup. I swear, if he loses that, it's going to look really bad on his resume. Shootone takes that one. Pocket Tarek, this one's actually pretty interesting. I do think that Tarek, or rather Greninja, does pretty good into Steve. I'm going to give Pocket the benefit of the doubt and say that he's able to take it this time around, but this is a very scary draw for Pocket. There's definitely potential of an upset right there. Regardless of who makes it through, though, I would favor Shootone versus both Pocket and Tarek. I think Shootone is really good versus Steve. He's beaten Aqua before, even though he loses a majority of the time. The fact that he's done it once, I think, is really impressive, and Aegis is a pretty solid pick into Steve, so I'm going to say that he takes it. Our next top seed is going to be Miya alongside T, Light, and Hurt. Now, for Miya, his bracket's going to be likely Atada and then either Ouch or Gak. Now, for Atada, Miya has like a 5-0 record or something like that versus Gak, so I would definitely expect him to win that one. And speaking of Gak, his opponent is going to be Ouch. This one is a lot more coin flip to me. I don't think the matchup is super far in either character's favor. These players have never played before. I think they're similar enough on the rankings, and I'm going to say that Ouch takes it just because I'm a fan, and that's all the logic we're putting into that one. Though my fanhood will not be enough for Miya, I'm definitely going to expect Miya to take that one. I don't think it's impossible for Ouch to win it, especially against a character like Game Watch, who after 1 or 2 interactions, especially from Wolf, you can definitely steal the stock, and Ouch is such an explosive player that you really can't count him out, but Miya's top 3 in the world. Gonna say that he wins it. Our next top seed is going to be T alongside H4, Meister, and Goblin. Now, I would definitely expect T to beat H4. It's been a while since T and E7 played, but he just looks so dominant in that matchup. But I think Pac-Man actually does pretty well into Pikachu. It's at least even for the character, so going to say that T takes that one. Meister, Goblin, overall, it's a pretty rough matchup for Goblin. He's never beaten Meister offline before. They haven't played in 2 years, so maybe there's a chance that Goblin takes it, but historically, Meister's going to be the favorite there. And it's the same thing for T Meister. I don't have it pulled up right here, but T does have a 2-0 record versus Meister. I think the last time they played was like 4 years ago or something crazy, though. So maybe that information isn't super useful, but in the past, he has been very successful in that matchup, and I expect the same here. Next top seed's going to be Light, and he's likely going to be against Gyarados King and then either Shattuck or Yuno. Now, for Light, Gyarados King, I would favor Light to win that one. I don't think it's super heavy in either character's favor, but I feel like it's incredibly hard to beat Light with Shulk. He's just so fast, and yeah, you might get out of 1 or 2 combos because you have Shield Art online, you have Smash Art online, but can you get out of the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th? Light is going to be applying a lot of pressure, and I just don't think that Gyarados King is going to have time to refresh his arts, and because of that, I think he's going to lose. Then they're going to have Shattuck versus Yuno. Now, Shattuck 3-0'd Yuno at SmashCon. I don't know how close the games were, but that's all I really need to say that Shattuck is going to take that set. Plus, Shattuck has just been like so good these past 3 events, past 4 events. Rising Bright is really good, SmashCon is really good, Bakehouse he's really good, Luminosity make moves he's really good. Is he good enough to beat Light? I don't think so this time around. I honestly wouldn't be super shocked if Shattuck was able to make this upset because of all of those tournaments I just listed, but I'm going to give Light the benefit of the doubt, and he also has a pretty good record versus Shattuck historically, so he should take it. And our final top seed for this section is going to be Hurt, and he's likely going to be against Atomic, and then either Lima or Quick. Now, for Hurt Atomic, I would definitely expect Hurt to take this one. It's really just because Hurt is so good at this game. I think Rob is pretty good into this take, probably a bit of an even matchup, and Atomic is a really good player, but Hurt is insane. So I'm going to say that he takes it. Then you're going to have Lima versus Quick. Now, this one's pretty interesting. Quick has never beaten Bloom Forever before. They've only played twice. One of those sets did end up going to Game 5, and Lima has been doing really good at these past couple of events, especially his run at Rise and Grind. He looked phenomenal that tournament, so I'm going to say that he takes it. I think there's potential for an upset here, though. Then you're going to have Hurt and Lima. Hurt's going to be my heavy favorite going into this one. Snake is Bane at its worst matchup. She just has a really tough time. Now, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Lima brought out the Korin, and I'm just going to expect Hurt to win. And we've got our final group of players before the top 32. Our top seeds are going to be Spargo, Ken, Tweek, and MKLeo. Spargo's group's going to have MFA, and then either Neo or Anathema. Now, for Spargo MFA, really bad draw for MFA here. Cloud is arguably Olimar's worst matchup, and Spargo is a top 3 player in the world, so a little bit unlucky right there. Neo, Anathema, this one I could honestly see going either way. I think Core and Rob is probably an even matchup. Both these players recently just got a 13 place at Luminosity Makes Moves. I'm going to say that Neo takes it, but I really am not sure who's going to win that one. For Spargo Neo, this one's pretty interesting because Spargo does lose to LY at SmashCon. That's a pretty big upset, and I would say that Neo is a better Korin. I'm still going to expect Spargo to take it. I'm going to say that SmashCon was an off day, but something to look out for. Ken's going to be our next top seed alongside likely Dark Wizzy and then either Kurama and Sen. Now for Ken, Dark Wizzy, I think both of Ken's characters beat Mario, and because of that, I think he's going to take it. Kurama, Sen, now they haven't played in over like 2 years or something, but Kurama has been very dominant in that matchup, so I would expect him to do the same here. They haven't played in a while though. Maybe this information isn't super useful, but I'm going to say Kurama takes it. And then for Ken Kurama, it's literally the exact same thing as Dark Wizzy, except that Kurama is a better player, so there's more likelihood that Ken actually loses to Kurama, but I would still favor Ken. Next top seed's going to be Tweek, and he's going to be alongside Shu, and then either Kananabe or Base Mage. Now for Tweek Shu, heavily favorite Tweek to take this one. He's literally never dropped a set to Mars in the entirety of Smash Ultimate, and because of that, I just think he's going to win this one. Kananabe, Base Mage, this one's pretty interesting. I do think that Kananabe should take it, but all Base Mage needs is 1 or 2 solid hits off stage to be able to steal the set, and he's been looking really good in these past couple events, especially at Terra, so not unthinkable to think that he could win that one. Tweek Kananabe, I'm going to favor Tweek. He's won versus Light in their last 3 encounters. And out of all the Fox players, I think Kananabe's playstyle is the most similar to Light just because he is so aggressive. And spoilers, that's what you need to be a Fox at these guys' levels. And Tweek has shown in the past that he can deal with this style of aggression, and I think he should pull out on top. And our final top seed before top 32 is going to be MKLeo, and he's likely going to be against Armadillo and then either Yara or MVD. Now for Leo Armadillo, I would expect Leo to take this one. I don't think he's going to play Joker just because Joker does have some struggles versus Lucario. Sometimes Joker doesn't have the best killing, especially if you don't have Arsene. And if you're waiting for Arsene to come around and a max rage Lucario is running you down, it could definitely be scary. Who is Leo going to play? That I do not have an answer for. It could be Aegis, it could be Marth, it could be Lucina, it could be Byleth. If I had to guess, it's probably going to be Marth or Byleth, but again, I really just don't know. I'm still going to say that Leo takes it, but Armadillo has beaten players of Leo's caliber before, so we're going to have to see. Yara MVD, I'm going to expect Yara to take this one. I think Snake, Samus is really annoying for Snake. I don't think it's necessarily super losing for Snake. I'd probably call it more of an even matchup, but Samus just has some super difficult tools in that matchup, and Yara's form has also just been really good in these past couple months, so I'm going to say that Yara takes it. Then you're going to have MKLeo versus Yara. This is another matchup that I'm not super confident in. I think Joker does pretty good into Samus, and because of that, I'm going to say that Leo takes it. Also, I just need to see Leo Tweek happening in bracket, so for my own sanity, going to say that Leo takes it. And any flip block here, just thought I should throw this in there when we were talking about Samus matchup charts. This is one from Yara, and he has Snake and slightly winning. He has Joker actually an even, and out of Leo's characters, he does have Aegis in the -1, so maybe the Aegis comes out there instead for Leo. And we have finally reached the top 32. I know it took a little bit, but what can I say? This event is stacked, and we're just going to be doing the projected seeding because I want to highlight all the players that were good enough to actually be a top 32 seed. And in the winner's side, you're going to have Aqua, Osimo, and Zomba Riddles as our first matchup. Aqua, Osimo, a little bit unlucky for Osimo to travel halfway across the world and still have to fight Aqua. As you can see, not a great record there. He has been doing a little bit better on some of the recent encounters, but you're definitely going to favor Aqua to win that one. Zomba Riddles, this one's also pretty interesting because these guys actually have a lot of reps versus each other. You do have Zomba winning their last encounter at Gommel, and because of that, as well, Zomba just being a little bit better in these past couple months, I'm going to say that Zomba takes it, and I'm also going to say that Zomba manages to get the upset over Aquila. They have a 2-1 record overall in Zomba's favor, though one of those was at a bit more of a 4-fun event, so let's say a 1-1 record overall. I do think that Rob beats Steve, and I'm pretty sure Zomba agrees with me on that sentiment, and because of all those reasons, I'm going to say that Zomba manages to make the upset. Next group of players is Gluto to Buzz and Sonix Shuton. Gluto to Buzz, they have been trading sets back and forth. You do have Gluto winning their last 2 encounters, though this was over a year ago. And both of these players have been figuratively on cloud 9 these past couple months. But Glutonny's peak is just a little bit higher. And because of that, I do expect him to win that. But expect a very competitive set. Then you're going to have Sonix versus Shuton. Now, Sonix is going to be my favorite going into this one. He beat him twice at Smash Factor, which I believe is the last time that they played. And also, Sonix is just so good at the Aegis matchup. Like, for most Sonic players, that's a bit of a struggle matchup. Not for Sonix at all. And he just has so many reps versus Spargo that, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Shuton tried the Olimar. And regardless of the character, I would expect Sonix to take that one. And I also expect Sonix to take the set over Glutonny. It's just a really tough match for Wario. And Gluto has been making it a little bit better with the bike tech that he's been using. Overall, his gameplay has just been a lot better because of the bike tech. But I don't think it's going to be enough this time around to be able to beat Sonix. Our next top seed is going to be Miya alongside T, Light, and Hurt. Now, for Miya team, Miya does win their last encounter. Overall, it is 2-1, but again, Tokyo Smash Bootcamp was kind of a more fun event, but it is a 3-0 at Kagurabi 11, and also Miya has been arguably a top 2 player in the world these past couple months, so I would expect him to win that one. Then you're going to have Light versus Hurt. Now, this is probably the hardest decision I've had to make this entire video, this entire tournament, because I genuinely have no idea who is going to win this set. I don't think it's super heavy in either character's favor. I think Light and Hurt are both explosive enough to be able to take each other out. So what I'm going to do instead is just not guess and say that Miya would beat both of these players, because Game & Watch destroys Fox and Game & Watch destroys Snake. Even though Miya did lose his last encounter to Hurt, I don't think that should happen again. As good as Hurt is and as much faith I have in him as a player, it's just a really, really tough matchup. I think if Miya plays it better, he should come out on top. And then the last time that Light and Miya played, Miya did win that. It's not impossible for either Light or Hurt to beat Miya, but he's favored versus both, so I'm just going to go with the cop-out and say that Miya wins. And our final top 8 qualifier through the winner's side is going to be Spargo Ken and Tweek MKLeo. Now, for Spargo Ken, I'm going to say that Spargo wins this one. Not that crazy of a take. Spargo has so many reps versus Sonix, as well as Aegis just being a pretty good choice in this Sonic, and overall Spargo's just been really good, so I'm going to say that he takes it. Then you're going to have Tweek versus MKLeo. I need this matchup to happen so bad, and based off their recent encounters, I say recent, it's been a while since they played, but based off their recent encounters, I would expect Tweek to take this one. MKLeo just does not have a character for Diddy Kong. Like, literally everyone in Leo's roster, including the Marth and Lucina, lose to Diddy Kong, so just not a super great character pool there for Tweek. And then for Spargo Tweek, this one, I'm going to say that Spargo wins it. It's a very coin-flipping matchup. I think Diddy Kong is pretty good into Spargo's characters. The only reason I'm going to say that Spargo wins is because, one, he's an incredible player. That's definitely a reason. But two, I don't want to jinx Tweek. I need Tweek MKLeo to happen, so I'm not going to jinx Tweek saying he's guaranteed to top 8 winner side. Spargo's going to take it. Please let Leo Tweek happen. And y'all know the drill at this point. We're not going to be doing the top 8 qualifiers to the loser side because loser sides are so fickle, especially on an event like this. 90% of these matchups aren't even going to happen. And I've taken my 20 players that I think are most likely to top 8, and I've given them the percentages. You're going to have the confidence here with Zomba, Sonix, Miya, Spargo. People I think are going to top 8 winner side. Somewhat confident with Aqua, Gluto, Tweek, and Light. People I think are going to top 8 loser side. Simple right there. You're going to have the could happen tier with Hurt, Shuton, to Buzz, Riddles, and MKLeo. The reason that Leo and Riddles are under this red highlight is because normally I would not have these players in this tier. They'd probably be in the perchance tier, but because it is MKLeo and Riddles, I'm going to be putting them in this tier because I know what these guys can do when they are at their best. They're some of the scariest players in the world. They haven't been at their best these past couple events, and honestly, I don't expect them to be their best here, but if they are just a little bit better, I could easily see them getting in the top 8. Buzz and Hurt have been on the top of the world, and then Shuton is just such an insane player that you really can't count him out. Then you're going to have perchance with T, Ken, Osimo, Pocket, Mutex, and Meister. These are all players that we've seen making multiple top 8s at events. I feel like I really don't have to explain it. These guys are just all insane. The Shattuck streak. Shattuck gets 9th at SmashCon, then he top 8s Rise and Grind, he top 8s Big House, he top 8s Luminosity Make Moves Miami. It would make sense if he top 8'd this event. And then also, just because I didn't highlight these players, you have Cola, Lima, Ouch, Neo, Kananabe, Yara, Big D, Umeki, Skyjack, Kurama, and Siski. I could see them making top 8. That's just a few of them. This event is just so insanely stacked. It's really hard to choose. And really quickly, before we do get into the top 8, I did want to show y'all my fantasy draft. On my team, you're going to have Aqua, Miya, Sonix, Tweek, Hurt, Cola, Shattuck, Ouch, Beastly, Samuel, Connect 4, and Dr. Pepsi. Aqua, Miya, Sonix, and Tweek, kind of all self-explanatory. I think 3 of these players are going to get top 8, almost guaranteed, and then Tweek, I'm pretty confident he can get into the top 8. Hurt, I just think so highly of this player, no surprise there. Cola looked amazing at Luminosity, making moves Miami, and we didn't talk about him a ton in this video, but I could easily see him going on a run. Shattuck, I already talked about him, easily could see Shattuck continuing his streak. Ouch is just such an insane player, and any time now he's going to have another pop-up event. I feel like the second Ouch gets into a top 8, he's just going to top 8 literally every event they're on, and honestly, this could be it. Beastly, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, Beastly has just been so impressive. Samuel, I really enjoyed Battle of BC5, and Connect 4 and Dr. Pepsi have good names. Editing for block, I just forgot to mention this, but I think the 2 players that are most likely to get into Watch the Throne are Zomba and Hurt. I would expect Zomba to take it just because I think his bracket is a little bit better to get into the top 8, but I could see Hurt doing it as well. And we have finally arrived at the top 8, just going to be doing the projected seeding as per usual. And for our winner side matches, you're going to have Aqua Gluto and Miya Spargo. Now for Aqua Glutonny, it is a 3-1 record overall in Aqua's favor, and 3 of these sets were at a pre-local. Normally, I wouldn't really take those into account, but considering that Glutonny's from France and Aqua's from Japan, they don't get many opportunities to play each other. I imagine they would have been trying fairly hard at this local, and also, the only time they have played at a major, you do still have Aqua winning that, so I'm going to say that he's the favorite this time around, though I will imagine that the set is more competitive than the 3-0 that it was at Summit. I mean, it was more competitive at the pre-local as well. Then you're going to have Miya versus Spargo. I'm actually going to heavily favor Spargo to take this one. He's beaten Miya in their only encounters, as well as both of his characters doing incredible into Game & Watch, and Miya's counterpick for Game & Watch, or not for Game & Watch, but Miya's counterpick character is Steve, which is probably the worst character you could pick into Spargo, so gonna say that Spargo takes that one. In the loser side, you got Zomba, Sonix, and Light Tweek. Now, for Zomba, Sonix, Zomba has been able to beat Sonix a couple times before. He was able to do it at LSI and Crown, but a majority of their encounters are going to be going Sonic's way, and form isn't really an issue for me here because both these players have been exceptional, and it's just a tough matchup for Rob, so for all those reasons, I'm going to say that Sonix takes it. Then you're going to have Light versus Tweek. Now, this is typically a fairly coin-flipping matchup, but you do have Tweek winning their last 3 encounters. Now, 2 of those sets were extremely competitive. We don't talk about the one at Battle of BC, but the other 2 were nail-biters. Last stock lasted Game 5, and it's tough for me to say it's convincingly going to be a Tweek win. I'm still going to guess that Tweek wins it because he's won the last 3 times, but it's going to be a brawl for sure. In the losers quarters, you're going to have Sonix versus Miya and Glutonny versus Tweek. Now for Sonix Miya, you have Sonix winning his last 5 encounters versus Meister. Some of those encounters, Meister getting beat so bad that he has to switch off of the Game Watch, which I think is fairly telling. But also Miya has a 5-0 record versus Ken. Now I do think that Ken isn't as good as Sonix, but I also think that Miya is better than Meister, so it's kind of tough to gauge. I think it's probably an even matchup between the 2 characters. I think that Sonic and Game Watch are very close on the tier list. I really don't have a lot to go off here, so what I have done is I have flipped a coin, and it said that Sonix is going to win, and that's where the logic is going again. Don't get mad at me. Then you're going to have Glutonny versus Tweek. Now, Tweek has been losing a majority of their encounters. I know it says 0-3 right here, but it's actually 2-1 because you do have Tweek winning the reset in Kawaii-Con, but in 2023, it's going to be a 4-1 record. Glutonny winning a majority of those sets, and at least the reset at Terra was extremely competitive, could have gone either way, and I think that Tweek can take this set, but based off the history, I gotta give it to Gluto. And we've got our top 4, and we can kind of do this a little bit lightning style. In the winner side, you got Aqua Spargo. We all know who I think is going to win that one. And in the loser side, you're going to have Sonix versus Glutonny. And I already talked about that in the video. I think Sonix is likely going to take that set because the matchup is really bad. Then you're going to have Sonix versus Aqua. I also think that Steve Sonic is a really bad matchup for Steve, at least the way that Sonix played it versus DD at MomoCon. I know I always bring up that set, but it is a nightmare set. Like, I don't know what Steve is supposed to do in that matchup. I'm sure Aqua has been working on that, but I think Sonix is likely to win that one. Also, Aqua can counterpick Aegis, but counterpicking Aegis into Sonix might not be the best idea, even though it's probably a better matchup. And in the grand finals, we're going to get the classic coin box, Sonix versus Spargo. And I could see Sonix resetting the bracket, but with 2 sets on a side, I do think that Spargo will come out on top. And I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. The support has been absolutely unreal as of late. If there's any player that I left out, which I probably did, this tournament's massive, anything I got wrong, or if you just want to say hi, leave a comment down below. Be sure to sub, all that yada yada, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.